Hello friends, welcome back to another video. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you are all doing well. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a little story time. So I'm going to be recounting how I got into adult coloring and how it's progressed till this point where I have a channel dedicated to adult coloring and artistic pursuits. It was such an unexpected journey and I feel like this video is long overdue. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing today. And whilst telling the story, I'm going to be coloring from this new coloring book I got a few weeks ago, a cat and a girl's day coloring book by Rowon. So yeah, I also have a flip through of this book on my channel. So let's start right with the video. Ever since I was little, I have liked drawing and art. I know most kids do, but I think the interest tends to wane as we get older. However, I held on to mine for longer. I think in middle school and high school, none of my classmates drew, and there wasn't anyone around me, like family or friends, that liked drawing as a hobby. So I remember trying to copy illustrations from children's storybooks, the ones I had, and yeah, I will talk about my art journey in another video. Today, I want to focus on adult coloring. So yeah, that has always been the interest. And fast forward to 2021, I received a scholarship to study for a master's degree in Korea. And as part of the scholarship, I had to learn Korean for a year before continuing with the master's degree program. So I had to learn the alphabets, grammar, speaking, and I was also taught about Korean culture and places in Seoul. So I kept hearing about this place in Seoul. It's called Insadong from my teacher, from my textbook, and some of my friends had also visited the place before. So yeah, it's a famous place in Seoul. So if you're in Seoul, you can check it out. And one day after class, I was like, what is the fuss all about? So I decided to go there. So I went to Instagram and I really loved it. There were lots of free art exhibitions, and you could also find like traditional Korean souvenirs. It's like a cultural shopping center. And that is also where I got this caricature portrait of myself. And I think this is on my channel, like the title page or something. I don't think it looks too much like me. In fact, I don't think it looks like me, but that is how the artist portrayed me. So yeah, that is when I got this caricature drawing as well. Anyway, after walking and window shopping for several hours, I went into what I think was a stationery shop where I saw this flat Korean book. I thought it was a storybook because there was nothing on the cover that says it was a coloring book, and I wanted to buy it to practice reading Korean. So I remember when I went to pay for the book, I think the lady at the counter said it was a coloring book, but I didn't understand because my Korean was very limited at the time. And you know that feeling where you want to buy something, but the last minute you have second thoughts, yet you feel it's too late to change your mind, so you pay anyway. And yeah, so I ended up paying. It wasn't expensive too, so I just ended up paying. And then when I came home, I realized it wasn't a reading book, but it was a coloring book, or rather a coloring poster or coloring cards. And I don't know if I was disappointed, but that wasn't what I was expecting. So I got this book in December 2021, but I didn't have any color pencils and or art supplies, so I left it. After about a month, I went to look for a gift to buy for a friend who was celebrating her birthday. And while shopping, I saw a color pencil set. I think it was the Stedler color pencil set. So now I have a coloring book. I might as well color. So that is when I bought the color pencils. And I think I did my first page back in January 2022. And as you can see, my earlier pages were very simple at that point. There was no shading, no blending. And even the ones with backgrounds, I added them much later. So yeah, I was basically just putting color on paper, and I even had the reference images on the cover of the sheets to help me out. So that is how it started. At this point, the coloring seed had already been planted and it was waiting for the right time to grow into a bigger tree. Reading has always been a favorite hobby of mine. I'm sure I've hinted at it a few times before. And I also like book shopping and going to the library. So now, because I had a coloring book, I think I was drawn to coloring books at this point, and I bought one or two, but I still wasn't coloring because I just wanted to keep them. The illustrations were so beautiful. And if you know Korean coloring books, they have like the reference images as well as the pages to color. So even if you don't color in the books, it's like you have an art book or a book with beautiful pictures to look at. So I bought one or two. And at this point, I was also very busy because I had started with my master's program. And yeah, I had a lot on my plate. But in my second year, I think I had a little more free time and I kept seeing ads from Domestica for art courses at a discounted price. So I decided to take one because I've always been interested in learning how to draw. And I think I took a course by Gabriela Nico from Doodle Traffic. She has an Instagram and a YouTube channel. Yeah, she's very, very amazing. Her illustrations are beautiful. Anyway, so it was a course on, I think, how to draw faces. And I did one or two sessions out of like maybe 10 lessons and then I stopped. But through these experiences, my interest in art was reignited. So I went on YouTube and I searched for art videos. And while searching for art videos, I think some coloring tutorial videos came up. And then I think the one that really stood out to me was a video of Sarah Renee Clark coloring a Kirby Rosanis page. I think it was like trying most detailed adult coloring page or something like that. And I was blown away by Kirby's illustration style and Sarah's coloring. And I was like, I didn't know this existed. Like, I didn't know adult coloring was a thing. I had no idea there was like a whole world out there dedicated to coloring books and supplies and skills for adults. And after that, I ended up watching lots of videos from creators like My Colorful Country Life and Coloring with Alina. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And I was fascinated. Like my earlier pages, you could see I was just flat coloring, and then these amazing people were creating masterpieces on in coloring books. It was so crazy to me. So at this point, the interest was there, but I still wasn't coloring that much. And I think all that changed when I got my fruits coloring book. I have completed that book and I have a full flip through of that book on my channel. That book was so easy to color, the illustrations were simple, and even that book, I got it when I went book shopping again. So I was going to buy some novels to read, and when I saw it, I was interested, but it was beyond my budget. So I decided to leave it. And I went with a friend, and he said, "Oh, you can take it. I'll just pay for it for you." So I was like, "Oh, okay, thank you." So yeah, I got that book and I enjoyed coloring in it. I tried to follow the reference picture as much as possible, and in doing so, I learned a lot of things. I learned blending, shading, and several other techniques I use to this day. So that book really helped me. And by this point, too, I was watching a lot of art and coloring related videos, and a lot of people recommended Prismacolor pencils. So I decided to get that. And I think this also helped a lot because the colors were vibrant, they were rich, and it was easy to use and to blend and to work with. So I was getting better results, which made me happy, and I wanted to do more and I wanted to color as many pages as possible. So in 2023, I think most of the books I colored were from the fruits coloring book, and by this time I had one or two books again in my collection. So I decided to, see where this goes. And I have always wanted to have a YouTube channel. So I thought maybe I would do this to document my art and my coloring journey. So, as you can tell, coloring was such an unexpected hobby. I bought a coloring book by mistake and I bought art supplies as an afterthought. Wanting to get back into drawing and painting, which I did when I was little, mostly led me to coloring. And even the first watercolor set I bought it for someone as a gift, and I ended up using it because I wasn't able to give it to them. And it's really amazing how things work out or turn out. And I still want to draw and I still want to paint more. And I'll definitely be sharing my experiences and my journey in those areas as well. And for my future in coloring, I still have a lot to learn and I have a long way to go, but I want to enjoy the process as much as possible. And yeah, I really, really want to do well. So even though I just color without a plan and hope for the best, I know that the continuous experimenting and trying new things, all that are all part of the process, and you can learn a lot by trial and error. So yeah, that is how my journey began and how it's progressed and how we got to this point. So I'm curious to know, how did your coloring journey begin? Was it planned? Did it happen by accident? Were you introduced to it by viral videos on YouTube or Instagram, or something you saw on Pinterest that sent you down the coloring rabbit hole? Let me know in the comments. We are almost done with this page, and to be honest, I'm struggling a little bit. Maybe I have to use the book a few more times to get used to the paper. It was difficult for the pencils to go on top of the watercolors, and even doing a second layer, it was quite difficult. So I don't know. Maybe, as I said, I'll have to use it a few more times to get used to it. And this is how our girl sitting on the rock turned out. I think it's cute. I changed it a little bit from the reference and I really like how it looks, and I can't wait to do more pages in this book. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the story time, and let me know what you think of this completed page. And yeah, until next time, have fun making art, coloring, and exploring your creativity. Bye.